So Black Canyon obviously didn't go my way. Luckily, I've got the Canyons 100K coming up in a month, and I was able to dive back into my training. Here's a look at what I'm doing to apply the fitness I built for the Black Canyon 100K to the Canyons 100K. Alright, welcome back to the channel. It's been a really busy couple of weeks. Canyons training is in full swing for me. Just had 200-mile weeks in a row, and Karina and I moved back to the city. So just been a lot, but all good stuff. Training has been going pretty well, I can't complain. After Black Canyon, I did a mega down week. So I basically took like 3 days completely off running. Then I did like a couple easy shakeout runs that week. Then the following week, I got back to regular mileage, but no workouts. So hit about 70 miles the second week after Black Canyon. Then after that, I was ready to get back to full force training. Started doing my uphill thresholds, which are kind of a big part of this block for me, and have run 200-mile weeks now in my third 100-mile week in a row. Next week, I've got Buffalo Run 50K on deck, which is I'm really looking forward to. It's starting to look like a pretty stacked field. It'll be good practice to just run my own race and work on some of the things that I know I can improve on from Black Canyon. I feel like I've been feeling a lot more at peace with my running since Black Canyon. Like, I feel like going into Black Canyon, I was very, like, I wanted to, for lack of a better word, white knuckle the race, just like push so hard and like just have everything go right. And now I'm kind of looking at it more like, what can I do to just get the best out of myself on the day? I don't need to be expecting myself to be in like some certain position or running some certain time. I need to just go in and run a pace that feels reasonable to run. And that's kind of my goal for my next 2 races, is to run my own race, run smart, and I think I can have much better results if I go into it looking to cross the finish line knowing that I got everything out of myself. And with that, I think the competitive results will come. So what does my training look like in practice? One of the main reasons I built this channel is to really walk through and document the rationale behind the workouts I'm doing and explain the key sessions that I think are making me the strongest runner I can be. So this specific block, I'm working on uphill tempo running. Tempo is what I'm defining as zone 3 here. So it's above my aerobic threshold, but it's below my lactate threshold, or the point where your body can no longer effectively clear lactic acid. So to give kind of a rough guideline on what this effort level should be, it would be a pace you could sustain for well over an hour, but probably less than 3 hours. For me, that's about a heart rate between 165 to 175, give or take a little bit. And I have a pretty good feel of what that should feel like in a workout. I started with 5 by 7 minutes off 1 minute. I'm able to actually fully recover, have the heart rate come down to easy during that 1 minute rest between each rep before I get into the next rep. And then the next week after that, I did 6 by 7 minutes. The week after that, 7 by 7 minutes. And I'm going to keep building until I'm at about an hour of zone 3 work broken up for these uphill tempos. And really, tempo running, threshold running is something that is always going to be beneficial, especially for ultra marathoning. You want to be able to bump that lactic threshold up as high as you can go. One of the best bang for your buck workouts too, because the global fatigue cost isn't super high. You can bounce back and recover from it pretty effectively. So I'm doing the uphill specifically because the Canyons has a lot of climbing. So the main benefit I'm chasing are those threshold benefits, getting a lot of time at zone 3, but a secondary stimulus is that uphill running that I'm incorporating to the workouts. At the end of those workouts, I typically end up pretty high up a mountain, because if I'm going uphill for up to an hour at a relatively quick pace, I'm gonna get pretty far, and I don't have enough time to run down to the bottom between each rep, since I'm only taking a minute between each work bout. So another stimulus that I'm getting out of these workouts is a downhill tempo after the uphill tempo. And I guess when I say downhill tempo, I'm not so much referring to the heart rate. I'm more referring to attacking downhill aggressively, doing more damage to my quads and hamstrings, really blowing my legs up, building that downhill running strength. I find it difficult to actually elevate my heart rate on those downhills. So I think it would be incorrect to really call them like a downhill tempo for me. They're more for the mechanical stress that they put on my legs. But that's another thing that is really important for ultra racing, especially at the canyons, because there is quite a bit of descending. It actually descends 16,000 feet, climbs 13,000 feet. So building that downhill strength and teaching my body to be able to respond to that is also really critical. So that's all wrapped up into that one workout during the week. I've really only been doing that one running workout. Secondary workout during the week is going to be the muscular endurance progression from training for the uphill athlete. So I'm doing the gym-based muscular endurance progression in that book, layering in this gym session on top of that. If it's going to help with my uphill running, is a nice secondary thing to add on during the week. So what that looks like is essentially 6x10 of various leg strengthening exercises with very minimal rest. And that workout has been cooking my legs pretty thoroughly. But I do think it's going to pay off, especially if I'm consistent with it. I'm only 4 weeks into it, so only time will tell. I think you need to invest at least 8 to 12 weeks before you really start seeing benefits, and preferably much longer than that. You really do need to stick with a certain stimulus for a decent amount of time to see if you're really going to benefit from it. So that's going on now. And then, of course, long runs continue to remain important. Pushing up to that 4-hour mark on my long runs. Two key ones I've done. I hit 4 hours in Farmington with about 27 miles and 5,200 feet of gain. And then I did 32 miles on Antelope Island in about 4 hours and 20 minutes. The reason being is that around the 4-hour mark is when fueling can change for some people. So it's really good to hit that mark so you can practice taking in your goal race fueling. I, of course, nailed nutrition on both of those. If you watch my other videos, you know that I've struggled big time with nutrition during races, and I've determined that's largely a nerves thing on race day. I think the gut-brain connection is really strong for me, and the race day nerves have not been good to my gut, but I'm trying to figure that out, trying to work on how I approach my races so that I don't get so nervous, cause my stomach to reject anything that I put into it. And I feel confident that I can figure that out. So if I keep training it, keep having it go well in my long runs, I think eventually the races will mirror that. Even though in all of my training for the last 2 years, it has been going really well aside from race day. I think that finally figuring out and admitting to myself it is the nerves thing, I am getting too anxious before the races, I need to do something to fix that, is one of my key takeaways from Black Canyon and something I'm really working on for my future races. So all that said, on top of those main stimuli that I'm talking about, I'm continuing to just layer steady, easy mileage, trying to get on trail as much as possible. And then, of course, throwing strides in 2 to 3 times a week, throwing in core as many days of the week as I can, and then doing all my injury prevention stuff. And all of that combined is putting together a pretty strong program for me. I feel very confident in the training that I do myself. Sometimes people ask me if I think I should get a coach or anything, but really I don't think I would feel more confident with any other plan than my own. I really trust what I've put together, and I trust that I'm choosing the right stimuli for the race I'm doing. So this weekend, if Buffalo Run doesn't get canceled due to the bugs, I'll be racing the 50K out there. Super stoked on that. If it does get canceled, I think I am going to try to pivot to Behind the Rocks, do the 50K there. I raced that race 2 years ago, loved the course, and it would be fun to go back and compare where I'm at now to where I was 2 years ago. But we'll see either way. It'll be a fun way to test my learnings from Black Canyon and see where the fitness is at before the canyons.